Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And today, it's a new season, and we have 5 new decks for you. 2 decks without using any of the new cards releasing today, 1 Luna Snow deck, and 2 decks with the new card Galacta. We're going to get started with Auroram's Pixel Moncherie 2. This deck is absolutely awesome. I've been crushing with it. I've shared this with a few people like Obihaved and a few others, and they've absolutely been crushing with it. Auroram hit a home run with this deck. This is an absolutely stellar Marvel Snap list. You can find Roram at twitch.tv/RoramPlays, playing in top 100 gameplay. This deck needs 2 high series cards. One is Series 5, one is Series 4. Every other card here is replaceable. This deck needs Fenris Wolf. It needs Gladiator. Gladiator will also be in Spotlights next week if you don't have him, so don't spend the tokens now if you're planning on opening for Penny Parker. Proxima Midnight is fine as Swarm in this list. Proxima is a bit better. Obviously, that's why it's a replacement, but Swarm is utterly fine here. You basically just want something to hit with your Moon Knight. It does limit you to playing Moon Knight on turn 5 instead of turn 6, but generally speaking, you'd rather play Moon Knight on turn 5 than turn 6 so you can get their big 6 drop out of their hand. Red Guardian, Hope, and Zemo can be Rogue, Juggernaut, Mobius, Copycat, Sage, so on. I'm going to be very, very clear. Hope and Zemo have been super mediocre in this list for me. Hope has some value. Red Guardian is excellent. Zemo, I rarely play. So I replace them with like Rogue and Mobius. I might be trying Luna Snow in this list. They're just general extra spots, and I have no hesitation sort of messing around with them. Makari is excellent. Makari is actually better than Hope or Zemo by a lot in this list, but if you don't have Makari, just throw a Brood in there. You won't miss too much. And then Hydra Bob can be US Agent or Ant-Man. Nice and simple, right? There's nothing terribly needed here. All right, so Roram hit top 60 with this list, going from over 100 to top 60, and I personally went 8 and 2 on ladder and then 11 and 6 on diner, which is a 70% win rate with this list. Uh, Turn 1, you pass. You don't play Hydra Bob on turn 1. You don't play Ant-Man. If you added Ant-Man on turn 1, you can play them on turn 4, because on turn 4, you're basically always playing a 3, so you have the time. You let the board develop and decide where you want to play it. Turn 2, Wolf, if possible, in case you need to Moon Knight early. Turn 3, you want Hope, Strong Guy, or Gladiator. I tend to default to Gladiator. I like to know if I'm getting a good destroy early. Strong Guy is also often relatively safe. I can play Strong Guy in the same lane as Wolf, and if they Red Guardian, I'd much rather they hit Strong Guy as a general rule than Wolf, and then that just gives me necessary information for what to do going forward. Uh, Turn 4 is often Moon Knight if I have Wolf out with Hydra Bob. If not, I'm just playing a 3. Turn 5, if I've now drawn Wolf, Wolf and Moon Knight are the perfect play. If I played Hope earlier and I was able to play on Hope on turn 4, then I can play 2 3s on turn 5. Turn 6, ideally, is Gambit Surfer, Trigger Wolf, win the game. Puts up a ton of power, has a way underrated amount of disruption, and plays significantly better than it looks. This list is really, really cool. This is probably the most fun I've had with Werewolf, excuse me, not Werewolf by Night, with Fenris Wolf, although I have another really good Fenris Wolf deck for you tomorrow that we're going to talk about. After this, it's Galacta. All right, so one last look at this Roran Pixel Moncherie. If you have Gladiator and you have Fenris Wolf, play this list. You will not be sad. In addition to not being sad by playing that list, you cannot make me sad by hitting that sub button. We're trying to hit 16,000 subs by the end of the year. We are like 500 away, so your sub would go a long way to helping us reach our goal. In return, we will give you 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos, sometimes 2 videos a day, and so much more great Marvel Snap content. All you have to do is hit that sub button. The like and comment not only help us fight the YouTube algorithm, but subbing, liking, and commenting can enter you to win a Galacta Season Pass. We're going to announce on either Friday or Saturday's video 5 Galacta Season Pass winners. Someone in the comments to this video, the video you are watching right now, will win Galacta from this. All you have to do is comment. I'm going to ask a question later this video. If you're subbed and you answer that question, you can win Galacta. Sounds good? Sounds good. All right, our December season pass card is Galacta. If you missed the big review, we're just going to quickly go over the card. It's a 4/6. Each turn, the first card you play at another location reveals with +3 power. We think this means it's a 4/12. We're not going to be sure until it actually comes out, not a 4/18, because a 4/18 would be stupid. It's going to be the first card you play at another location, but like it doesn't work at both locations, right? So if you play Galacta mid and then you play a card to the left, that card to the left that you played first is going to get that plus power. If you play the card to the right first, that card to the right is going to get that power. The card in Galacta's lane cannot get that power. So if you have like a Forge or something you want to play, you play that in Galacta's lane, and then you can like play Brood, and your Brood will reveal at 7 power each, which seems absurd. So Galactus seems great, obviously, for Brood, which means it's really good for Surfer. The other home is Galactus. Neither of those are the homes we're going to be talking about today, because I think we came up with something else. I think Galactus has too much power to not be completely crazy. I think the fact that this happens before the card reveals, um, it's just going to be crazy. It's going to be so much power. It turns Black Panther into a lane-winning 16 power. It's amazingly powerful and consistent. I think what I want to do with it though is I want to try and cheat it out early, or I want to try and cheat out a powerful 4 early. And so I updated the Cook to run Zabu and Psylocke. The Cook is a deck from 2 top Marvel Snap players, Barzy and Derek. We'll talk more about Derek later this video, but it's from 2 Marvel Snap top players, and this list is built for the current meta. There's a lot of negative in the meta. There's a lot of nonsense in the meta. Excuse me, a lot of nonsense in the meta that's really, really disruptive and puts out a ton of power. Super Skrull counters almost all of that. So much of that gore, Iron Man, etc., is ongoing. And you have Red Guardian to deal with anything that you can hit that will help further disrupt the opponent. As you do that, you're trying to put up a crazy amount of power. Gwenpool and Mysterio is often stupid power, but you can also end up using Galacta for yet another crazy, crazy power boost. If you can turn that Mockingbird into a 12 or that Sasquatch into a 12, I think that's more than worth it. It helps you go over the top. This is a deck that when the opponents can compete, it ends up often being really close. And this version of the deck with Galacta and Gwenpool should say, no, we're actually just going to hit the right things. The problem with Gwenpool is often she'll hit something you don't especially want to play. Galacta says, I'm not actually worried about that. Let's just go over the top. I especially like it because very often on the last turn of the game, I'll be playing like a Pim arrow or something for a Hawkeye, and being able to make that have extra power that the opponent's not ready for is just an awesome, awesome way to win a game of Marvel Snap. All right, so I made this version. This is from Barzy and Derek, but you can find me playing this list hopefully tonight at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer, my Twitch. I barely stream, or like there's some life stuff going on, so I'm streaming a bit more right now. But if you're interested in checking out a stream, please do stop by. As soon as I can get the YouTube and Twitch chats to combine properly, I will stream here on this YouTube channel as well. All right, this deck needs Sasquatch, Mockingbird, Zabu, Gwenpool, and Kate. All good. It needs those 5 cards. I know that's expensive. Sasquatch is in spotlights next week with Gladiator, though. So, and then I say this all the time. So many of these decks where people are like, oh my God, they're so expensive, they're so expensive. You need to be buying the season pass. If you're not buying the season pass, my sympathy is going to be limited. You can get something like 80% of all the cards if you just buy the season pass and optimize your spending. Gwenpool and Kate Bishop are both season pass cards, which means you would just need Mockingbird and Zabu. Zabu is also a season pass card, but it's probably before most of the people complaining were playing. So you can have with Gwenpool and Kate, then you just get Sasquatch next week, and then if you can get Mockingbird, then you are all of a sudden just at this deck. Copycat, Red Guardian, and Hope can be Rogue, Cosmo, Juggernaut. No problems. Those are just extra cards. They're nice, but not important. Hope is the most important of those 3 because being able to go Hope on turn 3 into one of the 4s on 5, and then being able to like multi-play that on turn on turn on turn 5 can lead you to just the most explosive turn 6 in 6s in the game. This is a meta answer. This deck should work really well. So turn 1 Zabu, turn 2 Psylocke into Galacta or Gwenpool. If not Kate, Mysterio if directly into Sasquatch. And the reason you need Kate here is weird. It's that if you don't see Mysterio, you need a way to make Mockingbird affordable. And you can make Mockingbird basically free if you see both Kate Bishop and the and Mysterio. Turn 3, you want Hope or 4 or Sasquatch. Turn 4 is another 4, Gwenpool or Galacta, right? So, like, if you can go Gwenpool and Galacta, you're in heaven. You want to go Galacta first, then Gwenpool, thus triggering Galacta on Gwenpool, making it a 4/9 that's going to create 6 extra power for you. Turn 5, Mysterio and everything else you can. So Mysterio, and then if you played Kate, 2 1-drops. If you played Psylocke, and Zabu, and then so on. And that your idea is to make Sasquatch as cheap as possible, so you can go Sasquatch, Mockingbird, and whatever else. Cool. This list should be really great. I think I'm I know I'm extremely excited to try it. So hopefully this really sings, and we'll all find out together on stream later today. Our season pass question before we get to our second deck, which is going to be from Derek, is how'd you finish the Surtur season? What was your rank? How'd you feel about it? Let me know what your final Surtur season impressions are. All right, Derek was the number one player in both, uh, 2 months? Both August and September. Number one player in October, August and September, and then number two in October. Is that right? Yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay, and then he didn't really play as much in November. That sounds right. Okay, good. So Derek is a former two-time back-to-back number one player and was number two the third season in a row. Uh, he created this Galacta list. He also created the Luna Snow list that we're going to look at next. I shot him a message. I was like, what do you got for these new cards? He is, in my opinion, one of the very best deck builders in the game. That's why he's able to compete so well. His decks absolutely sing. They don't always look like they make sense, but then you play them and you're like, oh, that's really nice. So this is just a very, very, very powerful list that can win a lot of games of Marvel Snap for you. All right, so this deck needs Zabu, Kate, Wiccan, and Goliath. Wiccan is just a key card in the meta right now. A thing I want to actually talk about very quickly, and I know this is the subject of this video, and I'll let you have the deck to look at while we do this, is fours have become the new key cost slot for decks. We've got Galacta, we've got Wiccan, Anti-Venom, we've got Malekith, um, obviously Shang-Chi. I think fours have gone from being the worst spot to just getting like this ridiculous amount of extremely powerful cards now with Galacta, where I think Man-Thing got a big buff, where four is now the key cost slot in a lot of mid-range shells. Wiccan really enables that because Wiccan says on the last turn of the game I can play two fours. It's what mid-range in Marvel Snap is right now, and it is a very expensive strategy, but it is very, very powerful and effective. So if you've been watching the videos and claiming all these fours that I've been telling you to get instead of some of the flashier early cards, then I think you have access to a lot of very, very powerful lists. And what's best is these fours are giving new life to old cards, right? Like Malekith is saying, okay, so I mean Juggernaut, Shadow King, Red Guardian aren't like unplayed cards, right? But Galactus says now I can play Captain Marvel better. Gwenpool says now I can play Captain Marvel better. Stuff like that is really powerful and really interesting. So, Kitty can be Maria Hill, but like Kitty is series dropping in a week, so if you don't have Kitty, don't stress it. Galacta can be Gwenpool. Gwenpool is worse than Galacta in this list, except for Gore, but outside of that, you're fine. Copycat can be Red Guardian, Mobius, or Luke Cage. Gore can be Red Hulk or Magneto. I still am not entirely sure that he's better than those cards. And Hydra Bob can be Iceman or Nightcrawler, but if I could buy one high series card in the game right now, just for generally good decks, I think it would be Hydra Bob. I think Hydra Bob is very unlikely to series drop next month and is one of the most important cards in Marvel Snap right now. There is no other one drop that matches his power and flexibility in terms of being added to a deck. All right, so this is a top player's day one brew. Turn one, you want Zabu over Kitty over Bob, and obviously, if you have all of your fours in hand, then Zabu's value goes right down and play Kitty or Bob. Turn two is Psylocke if a four, Kate if you don't have a three, or Kitty and a one. If you have no two and you have Zabu and Kitty, then you go Kitty into Zabu Kitty, which is also a perfectly fine play. You might lose one of the discounts, but the benefit of getting Wiccan off is more than worth it. Turn three is a four, Wiccan or Galacta are your goal over Copycat or 2+1. Turn four is another four, Wiccan or Galacta. Or at this point, if you played Galacta, you can Legion. If you played Wiccan, you can Captain. Excuse me. If you played Wiccan, you can Legion. If you played Galacta, you can play Captain Marvel or get a 10 power Legion, which just seems silly as my eyes burn a little bit. Excuse me. Uh, Turn five is Legion or a 4-drop, and this is Captain Marvel plus a 3-drop. If you can get 8-power Captain Marvel, you're going to win a lot of games of Marvel Snap. I think that's like the main strategy here. Excuse me. And then turn six is 2 4s or Gore and Goliath. Cool. Um, this list is awesome. Like, I don't know what else to say. This list is absolutely awesome. I'm extraordinarily hyped to play it. We're going to look at a Luna Surfer next that I think might also be broken, but I'm really excited for these lists today, y'all. I don't know how else to put it. I think that we're in a really, really cool period of Marvel Snap if you can access the cards, and I'm aware of card acquisition issues, but if you can access these cards, I think we're in a really cool period of Marvel Snap where like the decks are absolutely sinking right now. Luna Snow is the other card releasing today. This one's in Spotlights. On reveal, add an ice cube to each side of this location. At the start of each turn, +1 energy, then destroy this if your side is full. Here. Great. Um, +1 energy for both players is fine. This seems like it's going to make Red Guardian better. This seems like it's going to make Electra an actual card for the first time in forever. This seems like it's going to make all sorts of ramp strategies. But Derek decided to put it in Surfer. So before we get to that Surfer, just so you know, Luna comes with X-23, who's series dropping next week to 4, and Lady Deathstrike, who's already a series 4. This month is seemingly extremely powerful in the new card front, but almost entirely filled with Series 4 cards and very, very few Series 5 cards. I think Blob at the end of the month is basically it. So it's worth remembering that like they're giving you powerful cards, but with stuff that's easier to get. Deathstrike is a fine card that you don't especially need. X-23 is a must-have if you want to play Destroy, but is going to be significantly cheaper if you want to just use tokens in a week. I will have a full review of Luna Snow with top player thoughts in Thursday's video. I will have decks for Luna Snow tomorrow and Thursday as well. And then Friday for Luna Snow, I will have a review where I can actually give you data and information so you can make the best possible decision. Don't buy Luna Snow till then. But I'm going to be playing this Luna Snow deck tomorrow. I have all the cards. I'm a content creator. I have to. So Luna Snow seems amazing in this shell. I am at least a little bit in love. You even have the Luna Snow to Red Guardian thing if you want it. Looking at this list, I was like, why the hell am I running Luna Snow? You're running Luna Snow because having 5 energy lets you play Sarah early, and then having 6 energy on turn 5, even if you don't get Sarah early, lets you Grandmaster Gwenpool. And if you Grandmaster Gwenpool in a Surfer deck, I'm not sure how much Surfer you've played, friends, but that's a game win. All right, so this is again Derek. This list needs Gwenpool, Luna, Shaw, and US Agent. Again, reasonably expensive list, or at least it looks like one. Gwenpool and Shaw are both season pass cards. Again, I cannot impress upon you enough that if you want to have access to these decks, you need to be buying the season pass. Red Guardian is more important than usual here because Red Guardian also helps you answer name of card the Luna Snow issue, where like if you don't have a great play on turn 4, you can just play Luna Snow, then Red Guardian off theirs, and then you get energy and they don't. Turn 4 is Copycat Grandmaster or Copycat. Can be Rogue, Mobius, Juggernaut, and Makari. Grandmaster is more important here than Copycat. Grandmaster is actually like important to the core strategy, where Copycat's just a regular card. But Grandmaster is also series dropping next week. So if you don't have Grandmaster, 3,000 tokens in a week, and suddenly you do. So this is my favorite list of the day. Like, period, bar none, this feels like the most fun to me. And mind you, I have a 70% win rate with one of these lists already. So, like, for this to be my favorite list of the day is wild. Turn 1 pass, turn 2 forge. You don't have to forge early, but it seems fine. Forge into Luna just gives you a 3/7. You're not sad. You can still forge Brood Absorbman just like every other Surfer deck ever. You can forge Brood. You can forge Shaw Gwen just like every other Surfer deck ever, right? But your goal is to play Luna into Sarah. And if you're not going to play Luna into Sarah, you want to play Luna into Red Guardian to get rid of their shard. You can also play Gwen or Absorbing Man if you would like to. Absorb Man on Brood, excuse me, or just Gwen in it's a fine thing. Turn 5, you want Sarah or Gwen and Grandmaster or Forge and Agent. Now, a thing you can do if you spent turn if you play Sarah, by the way, you can go Gwen, Grandmaster, and Forge or US Agent is what I'm saying here. But the thing you can do if you don't get your like line going, right, is you can go whatever, let's say Brood into Gwen into Grandmaster and another 3. And then hopefully if you've got like Shaw in hand, Brood in hand, whatever, that becomes stupidly huge, and then you can play that in Surfer on the last turn of the game. Cool. The last turn of the game is just whatever 3s you can, and Silver Surfer. We got one more deck for you today because I don't want to just give you new card decks besides that first one. So we've got one that doesn't use as many new cards, but from our friend Phil Woodward. But we've got Derek's Luna Surfer. Shit, am I excited for this list? I don't even know how to put into words how hyped I am. I think this is going to be through the roof power. Especially, I don't expect a ton of Shadow King as everyone's trying the new card. And I think this should be able to like absolutely feast on the meta. If you'd like to see gameplay from these outside of my own stream, check out the stream team. Today is Tuesday, so at 12 p.m. Eastern, the great Prashaun will be streaming. All right, Philip Woodward's Swan Guy, the Sage. This list is hilariously awesome. It also has Electra, so if you're facing a bunch of Luna Snow, it should be super strong. This will die if Galactic Galactus becomes the meta tomorrow, but like if the meta is anything else, this should have like crazy strong power and still be able to compete. It is a very, very, very strong deck that's really hard to counter. Basically, what you're trying to do is solo a lane with Symbiote Spider-Man and either Hitmonkey or Sage, which is not hard to do. You just sort of leave that lane alone, and then you play all your free ones and sort of go off. You can find Philip Woodward at twitter.com/PhilJWoodward. He's an awesome person and great deck builder. This deck needs Hitmonkey, Symbiote Spider-Man, Sage, and Black Swan. Again, oh my god, that's so expensive. Hitmonkey, Symbiote Spider-Man, Black Swan are season pass cards. Get it through your head. This is a subscription model game. If you don't want to pay the subscription model, you're going to be very behind. Sage is the high series card that you need that is not one of those. Hydra Bob can in this list actually just be Martyr. You don't lose too much. So welcome back to Phil Woodward, who stopped sharing decks for a while. I'm very, very happy. I've got like 3 Phil decks to share with you going forward. He's amazing. Turn 1 is Pass. Turn 2 is Swan. Turn 3 is Bishop. Bishop is better than Swan, is better than Strong Guy, but getting Swan out is your absolute priority here. Turn 4, you want Swan over Symbiote, and Symbiote should always be alone in lane over 3. You can, however, just go like Bishop into Strong Guy, Swan, Bishop, Strong Guy, Symbiote, because Symbiote on turn 5 is totally fine. But on turn 5, you need to activate Swan. If you're not activating Swan, it's really hard for this list to win. Turn 6, all the free ones, Sage and Monkey, and Monkey should be alone with a Symbiote trigger in a lane to win. Actually, I guess Hydra Bob could also be Rocket. But yeah, this list is awesome, and you should try it, because like there's nothing quite as fun in Marvel Snap, at least to me, as playing a bunch of ones and then triggering a Hitmonkey Symbiote Spider-Man and being like, thanks, bye. The answer that people use to Symbiote Spider-Man is very often just Magneto that away, but this list is filling up all the other lanes, so you're fine. Quick word of warning, if you need to zero something, your goal is to zero Titania, you're also fine just throwing a 0 on Blade as required. Or you can just make 0 your last Blade card. Questions of the day. We got 3 today. Vaindeer asks what cards have changed my mind about the right way to play Marvel Snap. And the first one of those is America Chavez. America Chavez seemed like she was going to be terrible when she first came out. And I'm talking about the 6/9 America Chavez that would always be drawn on turn 6. Through time, and largely through Lambie and math, we learned that America Chavez was just good enough at increasing the percentages of you drawing things early that she belonged in almost every deck, and thus was one of the best cards. That was the first like big paradigm shift of Marvel Snap, that like impression of the increased consistency being so important. Loki was the next card that really changed my mind about Snap, which what Loki taught us is fundamentally the same thing arishem taught us a year later. It's that Marvel Snap's cards are powerful, and if you have them at a discount or if you have more energy, then you are just so far ahead of the opponents. Loki taught us that, then arishem taught us that. These were two, like just like Sarah's good, right? But Loki and arishem saying I can do everything from early on the cheap were just like absolute backbreakers, absolute insane changes. And then finally, Wiccan Anti-Venom Malekith changed my mind about what the meta is. The meta for a very long time with Zabu as a 2/2 ongoing was centered around 4-drops, was centered around like being able to go Shang-Chi and then like Darkhawk when Darkhawk was a 4, or other like powerful 4-drops at the end of the game. Now, that shifted and 4-drops were fundamentally unplayable since Zabu changed. They're back now and I think the big ones are Wiccan, Anti-Venom, and Malekith, really, really pulling things together. Malekith is sort of a consistency piece that allows decks to make sure they see what they need to at the end of the game more consistently. Anti-Venom is a combo piece. It lets you do silly things with cards like Frigga and Luke Cage and just like last turn shock plays with like Iron Man and so on. And then Wiccan says, I can energy cheat better than anyone, although at the expense of some consistency and some cards you don't really want to run. I think 4-drops are basically the meta right now. It sucks that all these are new cards. And again, yes, card acquisition needs to change, but the meta has shifted around these cards and around their power. Wilco asks what to spend tokens on, and the answer is Hydra Bob. If you don't have Hydra Bob, you should probably buy Hydra Bob. If you do have Hydra Bob, I think I would wait until January. And I know it's obnoxious to wait when you want to just play the damn game, but I think I would wait till January and just see how good these new cards are. There's a chance that cards like Penny Parker, cards like Doom 2099 are absolute must-haves. And if you spend tokens on even a great card like Malekith or Wiccan, right? And then you don't end up having enough resources for Penny Parker or for Doom 2099, I think you're going to be really upset. I wouldn't be shocked if Luna Snow ended up in that same tier either. Models asks 1 year and an infinite budget, what work of art would I make? And I'd probably make a community like a like with really interesting architecture that was free for all to live in. I would build some kind of commune. I know that's not necessarily a work of art, but like that's fundamentally what I would end up doing with an infinite budget. Um, and I would figure out how to make it artistic. Like it would be a place where people would be like encouraged and allowed to be creative, and everyone like different sections would have their own styles and varieties. And I think it would be really really cool. If I had to build like a single thing with a year and an infinite budget, see that so I know this is going to sound weird. Hopefully this doesn't sound weird since you just listened to me talk for a half hour. But a lot of my art is speaking. A lot of my art is literally talking to people, and bluntly I'm better at that in person than I am on a screen. And that's not something I need money to do, especially, although I think that there's enough good lectures and so on that I have that people would be interested in and watch. I'm not sure how I would do that. If I like with infinite budget, I could probably get like things animated and things like done and created in a way that would impact people, but I'm not sure. Like most of the things I'd want to spend money on are inherently political. It would be like working on the rhetoric, and if you can consider rhetoric an art, right? It would be working on the rhetoric and concepts of like how we speak about politics and how we speak about other people in the world versus the assumptions we make about language and the like sheer love of ignorance that many display when they I don't know. I was just yeah, I don't want to get into that. But yeah, something along those lines. If you're interested in that, shoot me a DM. I'll talk to you about what I just cut myself off from because it requires way too much of a story for this long into this video. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. I'm going to say thank you to Abigail Kiesling, Mandatory Burnout, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Danton, LAB, FaThorNewman, hope you're feeling better, Newman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., I am Frostman, J. Navrit, Thinking Poker, Primed Ryan of Prime Mind fame, Ryan Burke, Burkev, Ryan Wood, Woody, Kier Tixley, The King Questions, Koire, Archangel Freaky, Black Dahlia, Perifrost, The Goat Seeker, Hallowed, Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decisions Joe, Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of The Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, Extras V, and Skippy G, Jessica Campbell, Tommy Nyquist, The King of Bros, Brett, The Great Kazoo, Kevsey Hoda, Lunar Chris, Corwin, John Q, Jimmy McQ, Q-Town, Clarm, Colonel Forbin, 8th Frickin' Sage, Mod Supreme Models, The Best Osborne, Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan 56, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, and Jason B. The Fuzzy Donut, Spectrum X, Hoot, Matt H, DJ by Kajix, No Frickin' Flex, Ocularis, who we coached to Infinite in about an hour today from 97. It was really fun. Craig, Sterry, BG, Zodrex, the King of Canada, Deadman Falcon, Jonesy, the Great Two Ties, the Great Lord Whatevs, the Pirate King, Tuccrr, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for. Check out some great videos. Tomorrow we'll have the list for you that finished #1 on the Infinite Leaderboard and the list that finished #2 on the Infinite Leaderboard, and then we'll do a bigger like review of those and the best day 1 Galacta builds and so much more. Peace.